Hi, San Antonio. I'm City Councilman Manny Pelaez here for District 8. Today, I'm joined by two women who admire me very much and who I admire very much. We've got my sister, Juanita Pelaez Parada. Hi, Juanita.
Hi.
And we've got my mother, Marta Pelaez. Hi, Marta.
Hello, Manny. How are you? Manuel Alejandro.
Thank you for joining me today. Ladies and gentlemen, the reason I invited these two distinguished women is because many of you bump into me and you will say things like, I think I saw your wife on a billboard, right? Or I think I saw your daughter on TV. And I always have to tell them, no, you saw my sister on a billboard, or you saw my mom on TV, or you saw my sister on TV. And so I thought I'd introduce you all because, we all run in parallel tracks. And so, Juanita, you are a mom to a beautiful little boy named Santiago. And you're also a partner in your own law firm. And there's billboards all over San Antonio where people can see you up and down I-10 and 281 and all that. But you're also the chairwoman of an organization that I think is fascinating. And I wanted to talk about it today. Tell us a little bit about your organization.
I'm chairwoman for the board of CASA, Child Advocates of San Antonio, a cause that I hold very, very near and dear to my heart, that helps abused and neglected children, the too many abused and neglected children in our community.
And Mom, you're a mom to 3 children, and you got my dad at home. I think you've got multiple dogs at home that you're taking care of right now as well. But you're also the CEO of an organization that a lot of people know about. Why don't you tell us about that?
You are talking about my passion and what drives me to get up on a daily basis for the past 21 years, I believe. That would be Family Violence Prevention Services, who manages the battered women and children's shelter of Bexar County.
So you've been doing that for 21 years. If I remember correctly, there are 19 programs under this umbrella that you call FVPS, Family Violence Services Prevention, right? Family Violence Prevention Services, right?
That is correct. Programs have been created through the years to address the different and very complex needs of victims of domestic violence, both adults and children. And I want to emphasize children, because children constitute the majority of the victims of domestic violence. It's not adults, it's not women, it's children.
Yeah. Now, both of you operate in very similar areas. FVPS and CASA seem to have some overlap there, right? And so what does CASA do?
Okay, that's a great question, because a lot of people don't quite understand, and it's a little complicated. Mm-hmm. Basically, what happens is like I said, too many abused and neglected children in our community, and the court systems often have to get involved. CPS also has to get involved to put those children in a safe environment. The problem is that you don't know what a safe environment is, and often these kids are placed into foster homes, and there's nobody watching out for the interest of those children. CASA has designed a system where they train advocate volunteers to go in and be that child's voice in the court system, mm-hmm. be that child's voice in the foster homes that they're at, making sure that the foster parents are watching over them, because what unfortunately happens a lot of the times is children put in the foster care system receive the same abuse, if not worse, that they've been receiving at home. So our CASA advocates ensures that those children are protected and safe.
And they do that by way of going to court and advocating for the children. They do that by consulting with CPS and the foster care organizations and the psychologists or counselors assigned to the case and the ad litems to make sure that everybody is keeping in mind the best interest of the children, right?
Absolutely. I mean, it is the job that these volunteer advocates fulfill is so many. They act as parents, they act as confidants, they act as therapists, they act as, guardians, they act as so many roles for these children, because these children are voiceless in the court system. And when they're thrown into foster care, they could get lost. Our CASA advocates make sure that they're safe, and they've got somebody always watching them.
So CASA has a website. What is that?
It's casa.org. I'm not quite sure.
All right.
But we'll find out. I'll find out quick enough.
FVPS has a website, right?
www.fvps.org. And I would never forget the website of FVPS.
Seriously, it's very embarrassing. I can't believe it.
Yes, it is very embarrassing.
No, but I will tell you, if people go to that website, Mom, they can donate, right? And they can also sign up for volunteer opportunities, right?
Absolutely. It is a website, as every website should be, that summarizes all of the services that the agency offers victims of domestic abuse. And one particular feature under legal services is we have the application for the protective order right there and then. So in order to expedite the processing of the protective order, and it goes the same for volunteer services. So you have the forms so that the process of engaging with those who want to volunteer or attend counseling services is there, and it's no time wasted.
So look, and Juanita, did you find your website?
Yes.
What is it?
casa-satx.org.
Right here, folks. This is the link. So we're going to. I wanted to.
Excuse me, Councilman.
Yes?
You just a brief minutes ago, you wanted to establish a parallel between the two agencies.
I know. I was about to do that, Mom. Thank you for reminding me.
I just wanted to remind you.
Yeah. The parallel is that you both have primarily abused and neglected children as your customers, right? Each of you provides, each of these organizations provides legal services and advocacy for these children in probably some of the most delicate and horrific situations that these children will ever live. And you guys hold these kids' hands and these moms' hands and walk them through a very, very difficult legal process. The parallels are that both of these organizations depend on volunteers and they depend on contributions from the government and from institutions and from individuals, but also they're run by women. And this is why I invited you on the show. So for the first few minutes, I decided we'd set a little tempo here and I'd ask you some easy questions about your organizations. Now you've each given us an opportunity to know what your website is and what you want to do, but I wanted to talk to you about March, the month of March being the month when we recognize female leadership across the world, right? And I wanted to bring both of you together to talk about why you do it. What the world looks like according to two pinnacle leaders like yourselves. And so, Mom, you first. 21 years just steeped in the most difficult job there is in one of the worst states in the United States when it comes to incidents of domestic violence, and in a city that has some astonishingly disappointing statistics when it comes to domestic violence. And you've been at this for 21 years. And I mean, I can't imagine how many women have come through and children have come through your doors and during those years, but why do you do it?
Well, Manuel, I am going to be less than humble when I say the following. People may think that the majority of this job is about giving of yourself. However, I have to remind people that are listening that a large part of that giving stays with me. I'm talking about the reward.
Mhm.
It is extremely rewarding to bring in a family to the shelter to provide the safety, life-saving safety that the shelter gives these families, to be witness to the horror that this family has been going through, and to look into our bag of tools and to be able to say, I have the answer. This is what we could do for you. Their legal services, their medical services. There is a school. There is a clinic. There are all these other ancillary services that will take you to self-sufficiency and independence, and you will never have to look back and consider being abused just because you need a roof over the head of your children. That is extremely rewarding. And I would say to people listening, um, try it. Try
Try
it. And I'm
what?
sure that
Try
many
what?
people try giving that much to get that much, if not more, in return. It's extremely rewarding. So that keeps me there. There is the creative aspect
Mhm.
of the programming as well. So creating these programs and establishing these programs to address the complexity that domestic violence is and what it does to the human being is also a very rewarding part. So as we give, we also take it. And these are conversations that we, the staff, have, and we all are in agreement. There has to be something in it for each and every one of us that we continue to go after it on a daily basis.
Juanita, why do it? I mean, you're a mom, and you've got a very busy law practice. And one of these days, folks, take it from me, I'm going to end up working for her. Her law practice is incredibly successful, and I'm green with envy. But you're doing those two things. You could stop there, but instead, you give countless of hours to this organization with lots of employees and a sophisticated budget and a lot of moving parts. Why?
Um, I think you and I both were blessed with the best example, right? I mean, you just heard her speak, and we were taught very well that life is kind of meaningless unless you're giving back, right? And so, I mean, I was raised with that, and my mom is proof of that. Um, and as a woman, I think it's important to set that example also for my son. And yes, I have to say I am very proud of my law firm, which might one day consider hiring you, considering you have the same last name, Pelaez Law
I'll
Firm.
send you my resume.
But yes, I think it's important that I've always had a very, very strong example. My mom has always been a leader in every sense of the word. She's led our household. She's led her practice when she was in private practice, and now she leads the battered women and children's shelter, and is just a leader in our community. So I mean, I have no other option.
Yeah.
It's what I believe.
Yeah, folks, I'm a dad. I'm married to a pretty strong woman also, who she doesn't sleep. She works around the clock because she's not just raising my kids and making sure that I don't screw up too badly, but she's also a professor out at Alamo Community College Districts. And I ended up marrying a woman who y'all are describing, right? Which is that unless you're giving, she's not satisfied unless she's left it all out there, right? And so I have a law practice, I've got children, and on top of that, I'm giving of my time to my community. And to be honest with you, it's because I didn't know that there was another option. I mean, to me, not doing it was not an option. So Do you feel that way, Juanita? I mean, like, would you feel good about yourself if you just said, no, I'm just going to stay home and raise my kid and go to work? I mean, or would you be restless? Would you go find a hobby?
Absolutely. I mean, that's how CASA, I found CASA.
Yeah.
I wanted to give back to the community. Our Pelaez law firm, in fact, also has a giving program where we donate, 10% of everything to the battered women and children's shelter, because I also serve as general counsel for the battered women and
Yeah, you
children's
do.
shelter.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yes, absolutely. I mean,
Now,
I don't feel good without giving back to my
you're the
community.
second general counsel that's ever served that organization, and the one that came before you, my understanding, really left some big shoes to fill, right?
I don't think I would necessarily agree with that.
Really?
Yes, I think
Mom, what do you think?
The two of you were perfect. No.
Ladies and gentlemen, I had the honor of serving as the general counsel for many years, and when I decided to run for council, for city council, that became my sister's job, and she's done an excellent job doing it.
And I need to clarify that your giving to the organization has been on a pro bono basis.
Yeah. I was aware of that. It's you never failed to test the limits of my pro bono service. And we spent many late nights working on really important cases for the women who work there, the women who rely on you, and the children, and and that really informed the work that I do. But back to this whole concept of public service. The one thing I don't know is what it's like to be a woman who is in public service, and particularly, this public-facing public service, like you two are, with the reality that we live in a world where I believe it's tougher to be a woman than it is to be a man. Today at City Council, for example, we passed a resolution on pay equity. Recognizing, right, that if you're a woman, you make 80 cents for every dollar a man, makes in that same, job. And if you're a Latina, that number gets smaller, right? And have you found that in the nonprofit industry, that there's some of that, or that you feel that lack of equity, that you feel that it's still an uphill battle, or is the playing field in the nonprofit world for female leaders flat?
So let me just chime in and say, remind you what I've told you so many times.
Wear a tie?
No, girls rule. Girls rule, boys drool, right? I mean, that's right. And so, I mean, unfortunately, it is true, right? That's the reality. And it's something that I personally deal with on a daily basis in my law practice. I believe that the nonprofit world is a little bit more comfortable with women in leadership roles. Perhaps it's because of our nature to nurture. I don't know. That's been my experience. I found very, very strong role models in the area of in the nonprofit arena, which is really nice and comforting, especially coming from the law practice. Mami, what would you?
I would say that the inequities and the I'm just going to say the discrimination is found everywhere. It is absolutely everywhere. Patriarchal entitlement and male entitlement is a universal concept that transfers from sector to sector, and I think that does not obviate the nonprofit sector either. However, I will in specific terms, I will have to agree with what Juanita said. There is this an understanding that there are certain qualities in women that are more in alignment with what nonprofit is believed to be. However, there are wonderful men that are heading some wonderful nonprofit organizations as well. Having said that, and being, of course, much older than the two of you are, you, Juanita. When you have to do something and you are determined and your arguments are solid, you just go through life just knocking down walls as they present themselves. And you know nothing else but to be a woman. So discrimination exists, inequalities exist. And while you scream them out, you point them out, because some people depend on those actions of yours. You just have to understand that they're there, that they will be there, and just move on and continue. I know to be nothing else but a woman.
I mean, the obstacles will be there, and so you can either, you know, crash through those obstacles, defeat them, and move on, or you can be defeated by them, right? And you know, I've always admired that in you. I mean, I remember one time I was in college, and I don't know, I was going through some existential crisis over some homework that I hadn't turned in or something like that, and I was freaking out. And you said, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe that you're drowning in a glass of water." You know, and you helped me realize, hey, wait a second, you know, like this crisis of mine is a temporary glass of water if I, you know, look at the big picture. And I've always been amazed at your ability to keep your eye on the big picture despite the crisis that is facing you in hand. And so, you know, Juanita, there's a lot of young women who are out in the wings, ready, you know, on a leadership track. What do you tell them about, you know, being a woman and leading in spite of institutional, deliberate or even not deliberate discrimination?
To continue, to never give up, to be strong in your heels, you know, stand in those heels and stand confidently, because and I joke about the girls rule and boys drool, but I mean, there to a certain degree there's some truth to that, right? I mean, we are very, very strong. There's nothing that I have ever felt that I can't do better than you. In fact, and so you know, I have a few interns come through our office, and I love it when they come to me and ask me that exact question, because it happens to all of us, especially when we start our careers in the legal field. It is challenging, and the men stand confident in their shoes and try to intimidate, and you just have to be all that stronger in your heels and continue on.
Mom, what advice do you give to young women? You know, they say, oh my gosh, I want to be like Marta Pelaez. What do they need to do to get to where you are right now?
Oh, I would immediately say, be careful what you wish for, if they want to come like Marta Pelaez. But seriously, I tell them the biggest game that we have played on patriarchy is playing the game of patriarchy, letting men believe that they can do better and bigger things that we can, when it's just the opposite. So we go about being better and being stronger at everything that we do, while men empty the space for us.
Yeah, so then there's that question. I don't think it's asked as often enough, and I think I just interrupted you, and now I'm going to get it later. Did I just interrupt you?
I'll be kind and I'll say no.
I think I did. I'm sorry. Well, then, so here's my thought.
Mom, I would never interrupt you.
Here's my thought. There's men out there who are doing it right? I mean, there's allies out there who are really conscientious about this, you know, the way the system has been set up, and the damage that the system has done. and that are also trying to help, fix what's broken. What do you tell little boys, for example, about how to be leaders? Because, what we've been telling little boys forever is a leader is strong, a leader is, unafraid, a leader, commands respect. What do you think about that? Juanita, what are you telling your son?
Oh gosh, I love this question. I tell my son every day to lead by serving. And so you have to be humble to serve, right? And so it is not about being powerful and being strong and never crying and never crumbling. On the contrary, it's about, just it's leading by example and showing people that it's okay to crumble and it's okay to to struggle. I mean, the struggle will get you there. I mean, you have to struggle in order to become, to reach a position of leadership. And so, and I think that the only way to reach a position of leadership is by serving. So my son Santiago is very involved in public service.
How old is he?
He is 7. A few weeks ago, we were out at the food bank, collecting food for people, and he's helped at CASA. I know that he helps my mom at all her events, and so that's where it starts. I mean, it starts there.
Mom, what do you tell young men, not boys like Santiago, but young men like my son, 14 years old, men who are in their teens and men who are in their 20s? What do you tell them about leadership, knowing that you're trying to make it a world that's fair not just to them but also to girls and women?
Before I answer your specific question, let me just say that in reference to the prior conversation, words like strength and being at all, attempting to be at all, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that unless you are confusing that with aggression. So that's where we get into trouble, that we start giving boys the wrong messages. So what do I tell someone who wants to be in or is looking at entering a leadership position or fostering a leadership position? A leader is someone who has the ability to communicate, but a stronger ability and more salient ability to listen. A leader is someone who learns from the persons that you're looking to lead. A leader bases her commanding through defining clearly a set of values, integrity, the ability to communicate your ideas, to incorporate others with yours, and to come up with a solid plan for others. So if you can communicate that to young people and they can see how they could either develop those skills and or have some of those skills, then you will have communicated what leadership is to a young person.
Okay, all right. Well, then here's another question. I'm a dad to a daughter, all right? And let's wrap it up here because we can do this all day, every day, right? But I think this is what I want San Antonians to remember. I'm a dad to a little girl named Sophia, right? What should a dad in the year 2021 be telling their daughters about leadership? The dads in the past have never told their daughters. Juanita, what do you think?
That they can do it.
That's it?
That they're perfectly cut out for it. That they can do it and they can do it better than any man can.
Okay. Mom, what do you think? What should I be telling my daughter to make sure that she is the leader that tomorrow needs?
I would sit down and do more of the listening than of the talking.
Mhm.
And in her listening to herself, she will understand and she will develop that ability to recognize in her the skills necessary to do whatever it is that she wants to do.
Listen, thank you so much for joining us. We can, I love visiting with you. Mom, I didn't wear a tie. Hope you're okay with
I
that.
was just going to ask, where is your tie?
I know. But thank you so much. And I appreciate it. And just to check in, who's your favorite city council member, Juanita?
Melissa Cabello. I think she's my favorite right
And
now.
yours, Mom? Who's your favorite city council member?
You are.
Thanks, Mom.
I know better, Juanita. I like you.
Bye, y'all. Take care.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.